earn some daylight.
All right, we're back. Fresh off of baseball. Now we're going to talk a little bit about college football. We're I guess this is week 2 that we just finished up. The week 0 game was in Ireland. There was a few others. Week 1, I got to witness in person in Seattle at Husky Stadium, which is awesome. I got to say, I'm a pretty big fan of Seattle now. It's easily the weirdest city I've ever been to. And I've been to New York. I've been to DC. I've been to some weird cities in the South. Seattle takes the cake as far as weird, but I also kind of love it. Like they never got out of the grunge era. Like everything's grunge there.
Everything is grunge punk.
But the food is fantastic. Yeah, it's weird. Way less homeless encampments than I was expecting. Actually, didn't see a single one, so I'm kind of disappointed at Seattle for that. But Husky Stadium was awesome. Their fans were awesome. CSU section was loud for being small. There wasn't a ton of CSU fans there, but I did not see a single person at the alumni tailgate that I knew. I thought for sure there'd be somebody that I knew there, but outside of my group of friends that we went with, I didn't see anybody that I knew. So, but that being said, CSU had a hell of a game. The Huskies are supposed to be pretty decent. They weren't ranked, but they were among the group receiving votes for the first week of the year. I think they dropped off considerably because CSU, it was tied 21-21 going into the 4th. And then an interception and a absolutely retarded fake punt killed any chance we had of winning that game. And you could feel it too. It's one of those like that's the craziest thing about football is you can feel when the momentum changes just like that. It's not quite as pronounced in baseball. I was trying to explain to my niece, I was like, because she's like, I'm gonna be so sad when baseball's over. I'm like, me too. I will be too. But I was like, we can still enjoy football. And she's like, but I don't even want to watch football because baseball's better. I was like, no, baseball's better in its own way. Football is way more intense though. It's a good thing it only happens once a week, because if you had to do that
Every day.
6 days of the week, you wouldn't last. You would not last. As a fan, you would have a heart attack by week 3. You would have a heart attack. But it was cool. I guess the big takeaway from week 1 is Ohio State is fucking legit. Texas is Texas. And I don't know about Arch Manning. I didn't get to watch that game, but I've heard some chatter that maybe he's a little overrated.
I don't know if he got overrated or overhyped.
Yeah.
I think the ratings were pretty spot on, but I think the hype.
There's a lot of talk now about how he went to like a 2A high school and he don't have it. And yeah. I also think he went against arguably the best team in the country, according to the rankings, the best team in the country. And it was at Ohio State, wasn't it?
It was at the Horseshoe in Ohio State, and it was defensive showdown, right? And then they bounced back, and he played very, very solidly in their week 2 matchup. So I think he is still a young quarterback. All right, we're not expecting, for whatever gaps in talent Quinn Ewers had, he made up for it with his with his experience.
Yeah.
His IQ. Arch is still a little bit away from that. And they opened the season with a fucking bang.
Well, yeah. I mean, defending national champions. I think they were ranked 3 coming in, but then again, Texas was ranked 1. And
when I talked about it, I thought Texas was overranked then.
Yeah, I stand by it. I think they might be overranked right now at 7. I think at the end of the year they'll be in the top 10 and deserve to be there. But as of right now, yeah, they kind of got the shit pushed, and it was a fairly close game though, wasn't it?
It was 14-7.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's all right. Seven's probably. I'd say that's probably right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Other than that, week 1, like I don't know. I'm coming in not completely blind on college football, but let's say I've got a 20/80 vision going at the moment. I don't have a very clear picture.
We can do a quick rundown of. So if you want to go to week 1, click that little arrow thing. We'll go week 1. We'll just run down the top. So where it says college football rankings underneath that.
Okay. Oh, okay. Week 1.
Yeah, just get it to week 1, and we'll run through and just get a quick recap of week 1 and 2, and then we'll go predictions.
Okay. So, okay. So preseason. All right. So we started Texas, Penn State, Ohio State. Penn State has not moved, but they haven't really played any. They played Nevada to start the year, and I don't know who they played last week, but Ohio State obviously
played Florida International, and I don't know how good Florida International's defense is, or if this instead says something about the Penn State offense, but they only put 34 up against FIU last week. So Texas, Ohio State really showed defensive first, right? Ohio State managed to, ground and pound and were able to get that extra touchdown. It was a close game, closer than I honestly would have expected for it to be a defensive matchup like that. Penn State has yet to show us anything, but has yet to not show anything, right?
Right.
They haven't really let anybody down. Clemson, huge loss to LSU on opening day. This was an insane game. Clemson did not back it up week 2. They struggled against Troy. They were down 16-0 at the half. They ended up winning 27-16. But when you're down 16-0 at the half to Troy as Clemson, not to diss Troy at all. But
yeah, because Troy is they're in the Fun Belt.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're Alabama, so they can get they're kind of like LSU always has freak athletes, just like particularly on their football team. Like they get those guys out of the bayou that you're just like, holy shit, that looks like they're made in a lab to play football.
Yes.
And Troy, Alabama feels like the poor man's version of that.
They've got a cookout, a very good cookout at that. Well, if we have any Southern viewers, they'll understand.
Like every 5 years ago, it seems like Troy is making some noise. They're never going to be competing for a national championship, but they're going to compete for the Sun Belt title and possibly upset some big name school in a no name bowl game.
Yes.
But that being said, they should get rocked by Clemson.
And they did not. They showed the fuck up. 16-0 going into the half. They weren't able to hold on. But in my mind, that's a lot like Wyoming's game against Texas, where we were like tied or down by 3 points going into the fourth quarter. We couldn't hold on, but we held up, right?
Well, that was like CSU at Washington this on week 1.
Yeah, I mean, it would be the same if Washington, wasn't playing basically a glorified FCS team that's just full corruption. We'll get into that from week 2, but no, exactly like the CSU Washington game. I honestly am not super high on Clemson in terms of the ACC strength. After what I've seen the first 2 weeks, I don't think Clemson's the strongest ACC team.
Florida State's back, aren't they?
Florida State, I genuinely believe. I mean, they put up 11 touchdowns on, a poor team who did not deserve to be beat like that, but they got paid for it. So I guess it works out.
But they also beat the fuck out of Bama week 1.
And that was where we were going next. Alabama, Kalen DeBoer, and we have talked about this. We talked about it last year. Kalen DeBoer managed to get Alabama. They limped to the playoff last year off of Nick Saban's coattails.
Yeah.
I do not believe that this is an Alabama team that has what it takes. And I believe that the problem is not with the players, it's with the coach. It's with the coaches, specifically Kalen DeBoer. He managed to do some really great stuff with that Washington team that had Michael Penix Jr. and had a ton of offensive weapons. He's got Ty Simpson Jr. Now, Ty Simpson, he put up against Louisiana Monroe. Is that who they played last week?
I think so.
He went 17 for 17. This is the first time that's ever been done. Like 17 for 17. No, they were perfect against UL Monroe. But it does not take away from the fact that they got shellacked by Florida State. As soon as they got even close, Florida State was like, oh, yeah, we can step on the gas again. And they pulled back away. So this Alabama team, I would not expect. I honestly, if we had to call it now, I'm going to say they're a 3-loss Alabama team. Right now, they're sitting at 1-1, and their loss is against, at the time, an unranked Florida State, who then shot up to the top 15, which I think was deserved after the way they thoroughly beat down Alabama, and then had a huge shutout victory the next week. But I'm looking at an Alabama team that I don't think really has what it takes to go all the way this season.
They haven't looked
last season, even more so. I don't think Ty Simpson's been surrounded by the best coaches or the best help, and I think it's going to show.
Yeah, it's not looking good for them so far. No. Georgia, who have they played? What have they done?
Okay, so Georgia, week 1 went up against Marshall, 45-7. The Herd, they always seem to front a decent team for the MAC. So that's fine. And then last week they beat Austin P 28-6. Now I'm not sure if it was because they had like the 6th stringers playing the whole time, but they put up 4 touchdowns on Austin P.
Yeah.
And I no shade to Austin P University, but
yeah, but who are you?
So they're showing up this week as the number 6 team in the country. Now last week they were 4 before they barely beat Austin P. And now they're showing up against Tennessee, a Tennessee team that is hungry.
Making some noise. They
are making some serious noise. This is a Tennessee team who is trying to make waves in the SEC, who's trying to kind of usurp the Georgia-Alabama narrative the same way LSU has been trying to do that, and successfully so to start the season.
Yeah.
In terms of, so going back to Notre Dame, they lost to Miami. They have to win out.
I hear Miami looks pretty good.
They do. But Notre Dame cannot afford another loss.
No,
they cannot.
Because they also don't have a conference championship. Because they don't have a conference because they're fucking gay.
And now this week they're going up against A&M, a ranked A&M team that if they lose to, they will have 2 ranked losses to start the season. But then if they win out, that's it. That's the strength of schedule. They start out hot and they're done. So without that conference championship to kind of sneak them into the playoff, even if they're a little undeserving, I think they have to win out. I do not I'm not counting them out against A&M. I hate A&M. I will never say, but they also did the same thing to Notre Dame last year and beat them in the opener. So this is an A&M team that seems to be pretty well coached so far this season, and against a Notre Dame team that looked human. They looked mortal against Miami. And I think that alone should, give A&M that edge. Oregon, they kind of just rolled. I don't think they had a week 1 matchup. Am I crazy? Am I just blind?
I'm not sure. Let's see. Yeah, they played Montana State.
Oh,
and then
so that doesn't even count.
They beat Oklahoma State 69-3.
Yes, that was last week, right?
Yeah, and
I did want to talk on that. So this is an Oklahoma State team that has like one of the 3rd or 4th longest tenured coach in Mike Gundy.
Yeah. I'm a man. I'm 40 years old. I'm not quite 40, but I'm going to do that on my 40th birthday. I'm a man. I'm 40. Yell at me. Ah.
Yeah, I don't think this is an Oklahoma State team that's going to mean much. I also don't think Mike Gundy's got a job for much longer if he keeps this shit up, because last season was not good either. Oregon, I think
T Boone's picking money dry up.
I think so.
Because they were good there for a while. That stadium's awesome. Like the T Boone Pickens Stadium there in Stillwater is fucking dope. Stillwater campus is cool too, but
it really is, for being like the less good Cowboys.
It is the dumbest state school in the country, probably. But I love it. Oregon,
I think
they got to play somebody real before we know what they're.
Yes, I agree 100%. However, I still, from what I've seen, I think they're better than Penn State. Speaking of Penn State, I do not think Drew Aller was the answer.
That's what Penn State people have been saying for what? This is his 3rd year?
Yeah.
They've been screaming it for a while.
Mizzou's new little transfer, he is looking really solid.
Mizzou's always one of those dark horse SEC favorites, honestly. Like they're not a blue blood, but they seem to punch above their weight quite a bit.
They really do. I'm really excited. Next week's matchup for Mizzou is against South Carolina. They theoretically, if Mizzou wins this week as the 25th ranked team,
there was a lot of noise around South Carolina this year too. Seems to have died down some.
Yeah, a little bit. So South Carolina, I think they are maybe the 4th or they're like the 5th best team in the SEC right now. And I genuinely would say right now, in my personal opinion, now Georgia has struggled against not really huge competition. So I would not have them right now. If we want to go back to week 3, we can run through it too.
Okay, let's go to current rankings.
Just because I'm looking at it and I do not believe Georgia deserves to be in the number 6 spot. LSU, as of right now, yes, I would go, in my personal opinion, SEC, LSU, Texas, South Carolina, Ole Miss, and then Georgia. And then we can talk about
Ole Miss is down at 17. Huh?
Now, yes, I say this after watching Ole Miss strongly. Like they didn't win. They won by a touchdown against Kentucky, but it was a touchdown and a very convincing victory. It was, Kentucky seems to be one of those teams that gives some of the best teams problems, especially with the type of offense Ole Miss runs. Georgia runs a similar offense. I think Georgia is going to lose. Last year, we watched them barely put up field goals against this Kentucky defense. And as shitty as Kentucky is, I do not think we should write them off just because they had a rough start this season and they opened up against Ole Miss. Ole Miss already has a victory in conference. Georgia hasn't won shit, and they haven't looked convincing. They haven't looked competent. Ole Miss has a quarterback who is kind of figuring his shit out as a 19-year-old who's already graduated college. Like Austin Simmons, he's a left-handed quarterback with a lot of talent. It's just working out the kinks. And he's thrown 2 picks in 2 games, or 4 picks in 2 games. But each game, he's really shown a lot of improvement. That's the SEC. That's just me hating on Georgia because I don't believe they deserve to be the number 6 team in the country.
Will they be in that position at the end of the year?
They might be. I just don't think they need it right now. I think they're not a top 10 team. Looking at the top 10 right now, I stand by everything. Notre Dame still being in the top 10 and moving up after their loss to Miami.
Yeah, so Miami that makes that is clear bias there. They have not won a game,
and they moved up.
Yeah, they lost their first game and moved down to 9, and then did not play and moved up.
Yeah.
That is some fuckery if I've ever seen it. And this is why, even though I was christened, baptized as a Catholic, I will never respect Notre Dame. Rudy is a terrible movie. Rudy is a bitch.
He was a shitty person.
Exactly. Ohio State, I've not got to watch them play. I need to watch them.
I like this Ohio State team.
From what I don't like Ohio State, but from what I hear, that's a fucking tank up there in Columbus. Penn State sounds like they need a new coach and they need a new quarterback.
I wouldn't say new coach yet. I think James Franklin. I mean, we talked about the preseason. James Franklin is the guy who got Vanderbilt ranked in back-to-back years.
That's
James
true.
Franklin is a guy who kind of brought Penn State back from being, the diddlers to being an actual respected college football kind of dynasty. He has to win. But I don't think we write him off yet.
Right.
He also happens to be in the most top-heavy conference in the entire country, even more so with the addition of the Pac-12.
Yeah, so I've heard from the Big Ten homers that the SEC is now a basketball conference, and I don't see it that way. The Big 12 is not a real conference anymore.
Big 12 is just in terms of intelligence levels, it's just an extension of Oklahoma State. I don't really trust what.
See, I like the old Big 12 when it was all the ag schools plus Texas and Oklahoma. And Kansas, I guess. KU is not an ag school, but I liked the old Big 12 when it was ag schools against ag schools. Now I hate all the conference realignments. I really do. At least the SEC additions make sense geographically. I mean,
they're still technically in the South.
Yeah. But like where you have Cal and Stanford, who are literally on the Pacific Coast in the Atlantic Coast Conference, that's retarded. It makes no sense. And I get you follow the money or whatever, but you've added the biggest Pac-12 teams to the Big Ten, which negates the whole tradition of the Rose Bowl. But I mean the playoff system rendered the bowl system irrelevant. I mean they still do it, but it's irrelevant. I'm interested to see how as they add teams to the playoff, how that's going to work. But yeah, it's going to take. I don't know. It's going to take some time to get used to these new conference alignments. It's strange. Like Oregon and it's in the Big Ten, which fucking weird, dude.
Yeah,
It's fucking weird.
it is fucking weird.
All right, so Texas, they lose a close one to Ohio State, but from what I hear, the score was closer than the actual game was.
Yes.
Notre Dame, that's sheer corruption right there. Illinois, what's the story on Illinois?
All right, so this is an Illinois team who people think is going to be last year's Indiana. Now, Indiana is not written off by any means, but this is
Illinois. Or I mean, Indiana's got an incredibly soft schedule this year too,
they
right?
do. Illinois does not, which is why people are kind of flipping them. This is a team that, honestly, I think after finishing last season 10-2. I think they retain. I think I saw 18 returning starters, so they retained a lot of like veteran, like experience, and I think this is an underrated team, especially when you're looking at their schedule. I think they've got a really solid chance to make some moves.
Okay, so on like the alumni front from Illinois, what are they known for as a school? Are they like no, like what are their alumni known for? Like like CSU's an engineering ag school. Like all Oklahoma State's and A&M, they're both oil money. That's so like where does Illinois, like what are their boosters? Where do they make their money? Because that'll tell a lot about especially schools going forward, where now you can physically pay players where you used to not be able to do that. I mean, they did it, but you weren't allowed to do it. Now you're allowed to do it.
And engineering and STEM.
Okay. So, STEM, like, yeah. So
tech and engineering money
makes sense. Okay. So yeah, they got more money than God
as well.
Yeah. Well, Ohio State's a huge university too. So
yeah. So Illinois, I think, is one of those teams to watch. I am not going to put a ton of stock into them, but this is an Illinois team that has consistently shown that it can and wants to keep up, and is not next week, but this in 2 weeks, they are facing off their first huge test, which is going to be against Indiana. But the moment is ranked. They just blew the fuck up, blew Kennesaw State out of the fucking water. Indiana did, and Illinois soundly beat Duke 45-19. So far,
so
Illinois,
Duke will put up a team every now and then.
Every now and then. So they opened the season with a softball.
Isn't that where Danny Dimes went to school? Was Duke?
Yeah. Daniel Jones went to Duke.
He's still starting NFL quarterback, right?
It's insane. How bad does? Yeah, I'm not even going to get into that. Okay, so Illinois does not have a cupcake schedule, but they don't have a crazy hard schedule. They've got Western Michigan this week, Indiana next week. Then they have USC, who is getting votes. This is a USC team who I think is underrated. And who is
USC
favored.
Was kind of on the come up last year, though, right?
Yeah, they finished strong.
Is that Lincoln Riley still the coach there?
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of on the hot seat.
Oh yeah.
But
this is a USC team that people are talking about as being a pretty solid dark horse contender in the Big Ten. Which is the stupidest thing I've ever had to say about a California school. But then they've got Ohio State, Washington, and Wisconsin. And I'm throwing Washington, Wisconsin in there because they always feel tough teams, even if they're not the best.
Right. And Wisconsin's not particularly good this year, but that's all. And especially if you have to play in Wisconsin, that's always a tough out.
So I'd like to see.
And after being in Washington, that's a loud stadium. That's a tough out. And it's on the water, so like the sound carries. Like I don't know. That was the first real big college football stadium I've been to since Oklahoma State. I went there. It's been a long time, but that was, other than Washington, that's the only like big football stadium college football stadium that I've been to, like 70,000 plus. And it's loud. So like I'd say Washington's a tough place to play. Madison is a notoriously tough place to play. So
they're also playing in Indiana, so they don't have that home matchup. So they are going on the road. They have Ohio State at home, and that's it. So they've got USC and Ohio State. They're playing at home, but for Indiana, Wisconsin, and Washington, those are all road games. And I do think that Washington game is going to be close because it's not, up the road into Madison. It's it's across the country. It's across time zones. So I think that's the matchup to look out for as being a potential run killer for Illinois is that matchup against Washington, as well as Indiana. I think that game against Indiana is really going to show who's who, right? Which one of these teams is legit, and how legit are they? Illinois has moved up 2 spots in the rankings. They haven't beat anybody.
Right.
So
that being said, are they both kind of legit?
Or
is that a case? Does it end up being like a 17-14 game and you come out of there thinking, I don't want to play either one of those guys?
Yeah, this is an Indiana team who beat Old Dominion 27-14. So when I'm looking at them, I'm looking at them the same way I'm looking at Georgia. Okay. Illinois hasn't beaten anybody, but they've beaten them soundly, right? They haven't beaten anybody notable. It's been low teams, but they've beaten them well. This is a Georgia team and an Indiana team who barely scraped by against much lower class opponents. So I do think, don't count Kurt Cignetti out yet, but that's, in 2 weeks really going to be the key marquee matchup for Illinois this season. Okay. Florida State, I do believe they are currently my ACC favorites.
Are they fully back? It feels like they're fully back.
They're back. They're more back than last year. I am not going to say they're fully back.
Okay.
I kept saying that but this is a team that I think is genuinely the team to beat the ACC right now. We sort of glossed over Miami. Now, Miami this week has the University of South Florida. Now, this is a South Florida team who is now ranked and has beaten in consecutive weeks number 25 Boise and number 13 Florida, and knocked both of them out of the rankings.
That's true. And they beat the shit out of Boise too.
They soundly beat Boise, and they had a very strong end of the it was number 13 Florida. End of the game drive to win against Florida. And it was a close game. It was hard fought, and they looked like the better team. This is a Miami team who every year I think of them like the Dolphins. The Canes and the Dolphins are the same side of the same coin.
They're a video game team until they get punched in the mouth.
They're a video game team because you're only playing offense. You don't know how to play defense. And as soon as you have to play defense.
Or if you get a little bit of inclement weather.
Yeah. So
because if it's inclement weather in South Florida, you don't have a game because it's a hurricane.
Yeah. I don't like Miami's chances. So I think Miami is favored in this game pretty heavily, and I think that's a mistake. This is a ranked South Florida team who is going not that far. They're going, I don't know where, I think USF is in Tampa.
Something like that. It's
South Florida is like weird because they call it South Florida, even though it's the central part of the penis. And then, you've got the panhandle, which is just the taint.
Florida, the eunuch of America.
Really is.
They got a dick but no balls.
Mm-mm.
Um,
And I think I don't love Miami ever. I cannot trust this Miami team. I don't think Mario Cristobal is the coach that's going to lead them back to the promised land. And they don't have a guy like Cam Ward anymore. They have, what's his face from fucking Georgia? Not Stetson Bennett.
Carson
the
Beck.
other guy, Carson Beck. They've got Carson Beck, who transferred there for a girl who broke up with him and left. So I don't love Carson Beck as a quarterback. Last year, I think he was.
So you're saying Florida State's going to win the ACC?
I told you they're my favorite.
I think so.
I think Florida State is my current favorite for the SEC or the ACC. Now that's, not saying that, Clemson or Miami can't make a decent run for it or somebody else can't make a run for it. Georgia Tech's another team that I think we should be looking out for in the ACC. But right now, I'm saying Miami. I'm going to call this as a loss against USF. No, I'm not saying USF is the best team.
What conference is USF nowadays?
What'd you say?
What conference is USF?
Are
they Big 12? They're not Big 12.
No, they're the American with Memphis and Tulane.
Okay.
Currently,
they're going to have to. USS is going to have to win this game and then win out to realistically be in playoff contention.
Look, they lose this game. They win out. They are an 11-1 team. They win their conference. They're a 12-1 team with one loss to a top 5 team in Miami.
Yeah.
Who wins their conference. Now, this is a conference that they regularly send, like outside of Boise State. They are the best group of 5 conference.
Yeah.
In the American, you've got Memphis, you've got Tulane, you've got USF, who have been ranked and successful in the past, not of recent, but of the past. Last year, we saw Army and Navy. Now, I'm not saying either of those teams are good this year. This is an RB team that lost to Tarleton State, an FCS school, and then beat K-State. So don't know where that's at. But, you've got some solid teams here in the American. Yeah. And so this is a USF team that if they lose and if they make it a respectable game, I will have them as my favorite until they prove me otherwise as the group of 5 conference winner.
I like it.
Going down to
on that note, let's wrap up on Florida State, and then I got to go pee, and then we'll do the second half of that.
All right. Well, we'll hit Florida State really quick. Florida State, I think do they have an off week this week?
Let's see. They play, yes. They don't play again till the 20th.
Okay. So Florida State is going to hold, right? They beat Alabama strongly. They beat East Texas A&M.
Yeah, whatever. They did what they're supposed to do.
That's not a game. This is a Florida State team that I do believe has the chops and has the coaching and the experience needed.
Who's the coach down there nowadays?
It's oh my gosh. Okay. It's not Napier, it's the other white guy.
What is their roster?
Oh, I feel bad for not having this written down. That's why we need a teleprompter.
Yeah, somebody want to get on that?
Yeah, buy us all teleprompters, please.
Mike Norvell.
That's what it was. Okay, I think Mike Norvell was on the hot seat until
the Bama game.
Until the Bama game, and and that's saying last year he went 2-10 after going 13-0 and winning the ACC and getting snubbed.
Was he was 13-0?
Yeah, he was 13-0.
Oh shit!
And then
and they fell off hard.
They had half their team opt out for the Georgia Bowl game. That in 2023, and then 2024 now I was right. It was DJ Uiagalelei.
Yeah.
Uiagalelei. Sorry, Uiagalelei. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. You suck so bad I don't have to say your name right.
Hey, their alphabet only has like 4 consonants, and it's like K, J, L, and M, and that's it.
It's really cool linguistically, but I don't have time to annoy our listeners
Right.
about linguistics.
You don't need a
Yeah.
name this long to say John.
Well, we'll call him DJU. Last year, god awful. They backed the wrong horse. Jordan Travis graduated. He was gone. They absolutely screwed up quarterback wise, and it left them in the lurch. They are looking really solid. It's not Haynes King. It's the guy from Boston College. He played at Boston College last year. One of Thomas Caballeros, something like that.
I think you're right. Yeah, Castellanos.
Castellanos, yeah. Tommy Castellanos, he is not, your stereotypical
Is he
AC.
Dominican or something?
I don't know, but he's good.
That's a Spanish last name and a black guy, so I'm guessing Puerto Rican or Dominican.
He's from Georgia, so maybe either or.
Yeah, either or. Yeah.
But he is I mean, you look at his splits, he's not throwing for a ton of yards. He threw for a ton of yards against the Eastern Texas, but that doesn't count.
Yeah, but against Bama, he was 9 of 14 for 152, no touchdowns, 1 sack, no interceptions.
Look at his rushing yards. I think that's the key, right? 9 of 14, not great, but not terrible. But then he makes up for it on the ground. He had no interceptions. He ended up throwing for 2 touchdowns against East Texas, but he had
78 yards rushing,
yards on the ground.
Yeah, so, 78 yards for a touchdown, 4.9 average. I mean, yeah.
This is a Florida State team who is playing smash mouth football with a smash mouth quarterback who can run the ball successfully and also, if needed, can make the throw. We saw that last year with Boston College, especially against Florida State in the second game. So I think this is a Florida State team that's on the up and up, and I think they're back. They went out for a smoke and they're back with a new family, but they're back.
Yeah, I kind of think so too. And as much as I'm not a Florida State fan, I'm not a fan of Florida teams in general. But it's good for college football when Florida State's good because they got a huge fan base and they've got a long tradition of winning. So yeah, it's starting to look like last year was a fluke blip season for Florida State, which I think is a good thing. As much as I don't like them, it's good for college football. And yeah, I think Florida State's back. They're in a weak-ish conference. ACC is not as weak as I thought it once was. NIL really changed some shit. And Florida State's got money. So look out for them. I got to pee. We'll be back for the 11 through 25 and the classic Mountain West wrap up. So we'll be right back. All right, we're back. All right, so 11, South Carolina. What's the story on South Carolina? They were pretty hyped up. They started out 2-0, but they dropped a slot.
Yeah, they just didn't look super convincing. No, that's not to say they didn't play well, and I would still put them in my top 5 SEC teams. I think they are ranked appropriately. This is a team that struggled against struggled to put away a Virginia Tech team. That
Brandon Cunningham's their main guy.
He's not awful.
Okay.
He's definitely got, if you look at, actually, no, it's Lenora Sellers who's starting. Lenora Sellers is good as a sophomore. He looks like
the Bizarro Urkel.
That's mean just because he's got glasses. Oh, Lenoris. But they struggled to put away a Virginia Tech team that nobody else seemed to have had any struggles with.
Virginia Tech fell off so hard over the last 10 years.
Yes. Now, this is still a Virginia Tech team who is expected to do pretty solid. They lost 11-24 week 1 against South Carolina, and South Carolina did not pull away until the end. The scores is pretty deceiving. The next week, they lost to Vanderbilt 44-20, and it's only 20 because they scored a couple garbage time touchdowns. So South Carolina has Vanderbilt this week opening up their conference play. I like Vanderbilt again, but I don't like Vanderbilt to win. I like Vanderbilt to make South Carolina look human. This is going to be a win for everybody but Vanderbilt, because they're going to see how to beat Lenora Sellers. We already watched them struggle with a Virginia Tech team that could not move the ball against Vanderbilt. I think Vanderbilt's going to keep it close. I'm not sure what the spread is here. I guarantee Vanderbilt covers it.
Let me check. Keep going. I'll find that spread.
I like this Vanderbilt team. They've got Diego Pavia back at quarterback. They have an excellent, they're consistent, right? They've scored 45 and 44 points against good competition, and also Charleston Southern. And no offense to Charleston Southern, but you don't match up to the SEC. This is a South Carolina team who consistently struggles early in the season, especially in their first few games in conference play.
South Carolina by 5 is the spread.
I think that's going to be a lot closer. And by 5 for a South Carolina team that ESPN has favored at 65%, by 5, that shows you how unconfident they are in that metric. I don't think this is a South Carolina team that's going to walk away from this at number 11. I think they're going to end up getting dropped to number 15, 16 if they win. And that's if they win.
So, yeah, South Carolina is a little over 2-1. So minus 205, 2-1 favorite. Vanderbilt money line is plus 170. So $100 will win you 170. I'm going to take Vanderbilt to cover the 5, and I'll probably bet $10 they cover the spread. I may bet $5 money lines from the win outright.
I would take that bet. This is a Vanderbilt team that has returned a decent amount of players from last season, and also last season beat Alabama, a playoff contender.
You called it on this show too. We thought you were crazy. I still think you're crazy, but you nailed that one.
Looking at Clemson, I am unsure where Clemson goes from here. So
that one loss was to LSU, and that was at Clemson, right?
I was at home for Clemson, yeah.
Okay.
And last week they looked they struggle. I mean, it was 27-16 against Troy and 16-0 for Troy in the first half.
And there was so there's always big hopes for Clemson. Clemson was always like the Clemson fan base was like the Dallas Cowboys fan base, but then Clemson was good there for a minute. So they were rightfully cocky. But now they're still like the Dallas Cowboys fan base, but like back down to earth.
A little bit.
But there was like some legit like rumblings about Clemson like being in title contention this year. Is that still the case? Was LSU that good that day? Is Clemson kind of sucked? I kind of lean more towards LSU being good and Clemson not being as good. Like the hype not matching, or they're not living up to the hype. So
right now, as of today, Georgia Tech is favored to win. They are hosting Clemson in Atlanta. This is a Georgia Tech team who, outside of like Clemson and Miami and now Florida State, this is a ACC team that people are like, this is a team that we really think could go far. This is a team in Georgia Tech that returned Haynes King from last year.
They don't still run the triple option down there, do they?
They do still run the triple option, very similar to how Tommy Castellanos played at Boston College and out Florida State. That's how Georgia Tech runs. And Georgia Tech runs hard. This is a team that opened the season, beating a good Colorado team despite significant mistakes on their end. I mean, they gave Colorado that win and they still
they're missing the greatest player in CU history, Shedeur Sanders, who led them valiantly to a 13-12 record over his tenure.
Well, considering that they had like won one game before that, it's not terrible. I mean, I'm not going to ever say anything good about the Buffs.
Retire his number already.
Playing y'all. But this is a decent Colorado team that was spotted the win, and Georgia Tech was still able to win despite turning the ball over multiple times, having several miscues that gave Colorado excellent field position. Georgia Tech won. They beat Gardner-Webb soundly last week, and I do genuinely believe, if not beating outright Clemson, they will cover the money line. They will cover the spread, and they will make Clemson, just like South Carolina and Vanderbilt, they will knock Clemson down a peg because Clemson already looks beatable. They're gonna. I don't favor Clemson in this game. Clemson's ranking honestly means absolutely nothing, especially after last week's debacle. I genuinely believe this is a game for Georgia Tech to win. And this is make or break at this point for Clemson. If they drop a game to Georgia Tech and they do not manage to go 10-2 and beat Georgia Tech in the playoff or in the ACC championship, then all the hype, everything that Dabo changed to try to keep up, gone. So I'd like Georgia Tech in this matchup. I'd say take them on the money line, take them to cover the spread. They are favored.
Spread right now is 3.5. Clemson is favored -170. So if you take Georgia Tech money line, which is to win outright, +143. So bet $100, win 143. So I'm gonna also take Georgia Tech to cover the 3.5. This seems like a field goal game. And I'll sprinkle a little bit on Georgia Tech money line. I like that. Especially Clemson. I mean, they're probably gonna want to come out swinging because they lost and then struggled. And Georgia Tech being a triple option team, grind them down. That blunts a lot of the momentum. Even if Clemson comes out and scores quickly, if they can just grind them down, like that's the way to beat those teams that are coming out with a vengeance. Like they're just gonna sock it to you. If you can run the ball, grind them down, keep their offense off the field, you're the better off you are. All All right. So Oklahoma, what's the story on them this year?
So Oklahoma's a team that's still got to prove itself.
Yeah, they haven't. This is second year in the SEC.
Yeah, this is year 2 in the SEC. Now
they got punched in the mouth last year, but they did beat Alabama.
Now they also last week beat Michigan, a number 15 ranked Michigan. So this is an Oklahoma team that has proven itself this season as talented. It was proven itself last year when it came into the SEC season ranked and got its ass kicked. So right now, this is they're playing Temple this week. This is a warm-up game for when they actually have to start doing shit. They have Temple this week, and then currently ranked Auburn 2020 at 24 the following week, and then they have a toned down game against Kent State before they take on Texas, and then they have a gauntlet. So right now,
you think the National Guard will show up for that one?
Potentially. I hope they shoot Oklahoma. So right now, this week they've got Temple. Next week they have a ranked matchup against Auburn.
Put a blue bonnet in the cannon.
God. Yeah. So next week they've got Auburn, following Kent State. Then Texas at number 7, South Carolina currently at number 11, Ole Miss at 17, Tennessee at 15, Alabama at 19, Missouri at 25, and LSU at 3.
Fuck, so that's a gauntlet.
Ranked Michigan. They have 2 games against Temple and Kent State, and every other team they play is currently ranked. Oklahoma has. I don't know if they currently have I think Ohio State's one of them with that toughest. So South Florida has the 3rd toughest schedule. I think Ohio State has number 1. I don't think it's Oklahoma at number 2, but if they're not in the top 5, I'd be surprised.
That's a gauntlet.
Like that is like the epitome of an SEC gauntlet. And if Oklahoma can run it, I just don't know. I don't know how good this Michigan team is. Again, people were all hyped up about beating Michigan last year, and they turned out to not be the same Michigan team from the year before.
Right.
So I think right now this Temple game is an easy warm-up. Next week is the biggest test. So
wasn't Michigan without their head coach too? Didn't their head coach get suspended?
Venables? I don't know.
I thought I don't know. It matters that much, but I think
he's still playing. He had a presser. But yes,
you can't count out Oklahoma. They're always. I hate them, but they're always kind of good.
So I will respect them here. I do think obviously it's Temple. This is a win for Oklahoma. I would bet on it.
I don't know what
this is a team I think you should watch. This is a team that you should be like, this is an interesting team. It's got a tough schedule in a great division. I mean, the SEC, we talk about it falling off. What's really fallen off is that the SEC has gotten a little bit more parity.
I think the SEC has got better. It's not that it's fallen off. It's
exactly it's got better.
It's not just Georgia, LSU, and Bama every year.
Yeah.
It's now you got South Carolina looks good. Ole Miss looks good. Kentucky Tennessee, every now and then looks good. Tennessee's on the come up again. Florida hit or miss. But I think the SEC has got better. I think overall the Big Ten has got better, but not in the same way that the SEC like all the way around like that. Like that's there's not like who's the shit team in the SEC?
Mississippi State, Kentucky, Arkansas.
But Kentucky, like I said, every now and then they're pretty good. Mississippi State, I think that's the shit team.
They are 2-0, and people are like, "Oh yeah, we got to put some respect on Mississippi State's name."
I don't know about that.
I won't be doing that, but y'all go off.
But I think every other team in the SEC is a contender in pretty much every other conference. But now the Big Ten still very top heavy though. It's Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan to a certain extent now, Oregon, and that's kind of it, honestly. USC, we'll see. Washington's like the Kentucky of the Big Ten. Every now and then they'll have a run where they're good, but when they're not, I don't like this year. I don't think they're that good. CSU gave them the business, and they still won, but CSU gave them the business. So, Iowa State, are they for real?
Right now, they're riding the rankings of beating a ranked Kansas State team who just lost to Army, who we said earlier.
K-State's. I don't think it's very good. I don't like their coach at all.
Yeah, and last week they beat Iowa, which is always a tough game. They beat them 13-16 on a walk-off
classic Iowa matchup there.
Yeah, so I think. When you look at Iowa, if you score more than 10 points against Iowa, it's a win. Regardless of the final score, your offense is pretty damn good if you can put up 10 points, let alone 16. So I think this is an Iowa State team. In the Big 12, this is their conference to lose.
It's kind of feeling like it.
I don't love their chances, but I also won't count them out yet. We've seen a lot of disappointment from the Big 12 already, with some strong showing from Texas Tech and Utah, who both haven't beaten anybody. So,
what Iowa State has going for them, they've already beat K-State. K-State's always a tough out, even when they're not good. Like, they're always kind of good. Like, they're a tough out. And Ames is a spooky place to play for whatever reason. Like, Iowa State's has that reputation of being a giant killer over the years, but now they're the giant. Can they keep it going? They kind of look like the giant in the Big 12 at the moment. They do, and they're going to Arkansas State for I don't know why. That doesn't seem fair, right? But so they're gonna start up 4-0. With a ranked win against Kansas State and a win against a Big Ten team in Iowa. That was pretty close, and Iowa always shows up. Right, and it's a rivalry game. So
Hawk rivalry. So this is a cakewalk this week. I don't expect
a battle for a place that doesn't exist.
Exactly.
No, I think Iowa State's interesting. I wouldn't say they're for real just yet, but I think they're very interesting, particularly given that they got K-State out of the way. So, because like usually that's a game down the stretch that fucks up one of their years, and now that they've got it out of the way, it won't be until a potential Big 12 championship where K-State could fuck them over. So they got to handle business, see what the rest of the Big 12 looks like. But I haven't heard much of anything out of the Big 12 as of yet.
People are like in Utah right now. Tennessee, they're playing at Georgia, or they're hosting Georgia in Neyland. Okay. I think this is a game that Tennessee walks away from with a win, or at least a very convincing loss.
Is this the case if it's a close loss where they move up in rankings?
Yes, but it has to be like oh, they both showed how good they were. I'm thinking we can't have an offense
and like a field goal, a one possession game. I think maybe.
Yeah, I do also like Tennessee to win this game. They're hosting Georgia at home. This is a Georgia team.
They moved up 7 spots.
Yeah. And I think for good reason.
Who did they beat last week?
Oh, now I have to go pull it back up because I moved it.
Hold on.
They started the season against Eastern Tennessee and Syracuse. Now, Syracuse, we talked about preseason being a game where Tennessee's going to pull away late. They're going to start, and Syracuse is going to show up. Syracuse showed up to start, and Tennessee had to fight to pull away late. And then last week, they put up 72 against Eastern Tennessee State, which is
it's not a real place either.
Playing in middle school. But they put up 72 and they looked good doing it. This is a Tennessee team that when I genuinely say I think this is like their year to actually make some real noise in the SEC, this is it. I don't think Georgia is remotely as talented as they used to be, especially at quarterback.
No, their best position right now is their coach. Kirby Smart is still probably the best college football coach out there. But I agree his talent pool, while still very, very good, bordering on elite, it's not what it once was.
No, we're not. Yeah, I think Gunnar Stockton, as good as he is not going to beat this Josh Heupel-led defense at Tennessee. I truly believe that, especially at home. With the chance of getting pelted by mustard bottles and golf balls, I really don't think Kirby Smart's gonna. I think he's gonna fold. Texas A&M, we already talked about having to.
Hold on, let me find the. So Georgia, Tennessee. Georgia is a 3.5 point favorite, minus 170.
Yeah.
Tennessee's a plus 143, also a 3.5. Yeah,
ESPN is currently favoring Tennessee. It's still a toss up. It's 51.5 to 48.5. So clearly it's a toss up. But in terms of hosting, I genuinely believe that gives Tennessee a significant upper hand.
I'm going to take them to cover the spread for sure. Again, 3.5 points. That feels like a field goal game. At best. I mean, it could be a barn burner one way or the other. That's how college games go. But this feels like SEC matchup, ranked SEC matchup. This feels like a field goal game. Particularly the underdog being at home. Yeah. Give me that 0.5 point all day. I'll take Tennessee to cover. Whether they win or not, I might sprinkle a little bit on that as well. But I like Tennessee to cover, particularly as you're saying with the home field advantage. Tennessee's a huge home field advantage like that.
Well, I've been to Neyland, and that stadium you were talking about, Washington Stadium getting loud in Seattle.
Yeah,
this is a stadium that is raucous and it is violent, and it is.
Yeah, that shit makes a difference.
So looking at
I can't hear you.
Texas A&M has got to go to Notre Dame. I
can
you good? Again. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you though. Hold on.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
My speaker switched on me. I don't know what the fuck happened there.
That's weird. Okay. We're on A&M and Notre Dame. A&M has to go to Notre Dame. This is a win or go home game for Notre Dame. I don't think Notre Dame's going to come out with a victory. I think Notre Dame's going to miss the playoff because of it. I think it's going to be close. I think A&M is going to squeak out a victory. It's going to be like 27-24. But I don't think Notre Dame is the team that they think they are. Going down the list, South Florida, they've got Miami. I think again, that's a South Florida team that's hungry, and I think it's a South Florida team that has a decent enough chance to go in and make a pretty significant upset. Now my phone is frozen.
What about Ole Miss? What do you think about Ole Miss?
Ole Miss, there we go. Ole Miss has Arkansas this week. A win this week would be back-to-back conference wins.
Where is it at?
At home.
At home. Okay. What's Arkansas this year? Because every now and then they're pretty good.
I think at the moment they are 2-0. Let me get my shit up to load. But I don't really think they've played anybody that important. They are also 2-0. Ole Miss is at 17. Arkansas has played Alabama A&M, which they beat 52-7, and Arkansas State, which they beat 56-14. Ole Miss has beaten Georgia State, a FBS program, 63-7, and Kentucky 30-23. So not
30 to 23.
State,
all right.
Georgia State's a legitimate program in the FBS. All right, I'm not saying that it should count as much as a Big 12 win or a win over a Big 10 team, but it's still better than beating 2 FCS opponents. Although I think Arkansas State is technically an FBS opponent now.
Yeah, ESPN's got 74%.
Yeah,
or 73.3% win percentage for Ole Miss.
Can you do player props in college?
Sometimes I think.
Okay. Well, if there's a player prop for Austin Simmons to throw a pick, I'd say take it.
Nice.
He's thrown 2 of his first 2 games. I'll keep myself humble, but that's a team that I think will not be able to put up a fight against Ole Miss. South Florida, I like them against Miami. I think they're a dark horse favorite. I think that's the kind of money line that you want to put $5 on. You're going to win something. I'm not going to say they're going to win. I think this is a South Florida team that is going to fight. I like that. Alabama is going to host Wisconsin this week. I think it's going to be a solid win for Bama, but I don't think it's going to look like much. It's going to be like a 17-10 win, 24-14.
I don't mean to cut you off. So as of right now, I like where your head's at betting wise. So the spread, South Florida at Miami is 17.5. Money line for South Florida is plus 550. So if you bet $100, that'll pay out at 550, or it'll pay out at 650. It'll pay back 550. I'm going to sprinkle for sure South Florida money line, and I'm also going to bet the spread, South Florida to cover 17.5. That is a lot of points. I know in college, not necessarily, but I also agree with you. Like you brought this up before South Florida's last victory. Or maybe it was right after.
It was right after they beat Florida. But I was also just talking about how even if they lose this game, this is a group of 5 team that has proven itself already. And if they could go and start the season 3-0, all against ranked opponents, 2 of which are in-state rivals, I think that's, regardless, a pretty awesome story. I know that doesn't win anybody money. Cool stories don't really do that, but I like that. I like this South Florida team as a group of 5 team that's underrated.
Well, and also I think if they're gonna make a run, they're gonna make the Miami game close. Whether they win or not, 17.5 seems like a lot. But also Vegas does know their shit, so know that as well. But I will say Vegas knows their shit, but I called Vandy Bama and nobody else did. Right. But they also know when to make it enticing enough to
That's true.
So either way, I like your call a lot here. South Florida, maybe not to win. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit on that, but I'm going to bet them to cover. 17.5 in this type of game seems like a lot,
especially with what we've seen from South Florida already. And now that's Florida. As much as we're going to give them shit, DJ Lagway is a legitimate threat, and they shut that shit down.
Yeah,
I genuinely do not believe Carson Beck is nearly the quarterback that DJ Lagway is, and I don't trust Mario Cristobal to be able to outcoach the South Florida team. At the very least, they're going to win by talent and talent alone, and that's not going to be enough to beat the spread.
Yeah.
Alabama, hosts Wisconsin. I like this to be a close win for Alabama, but I would not be surprised at a Wisconsin push. Wisconsin is 2-0. They haven't really beaten anybody yet either, but Alabama's lost. Alabama lost to an unranked team.
And they got the shit kicked out of them by an unranked team, who's now ranked top 10 team. But also they, even if Florida State would have came in at the beginning of the season ranked top 10
and done what they did to Alabama, we would have had the same
like Alabama should have put up a better fight than that. And
now I don't think Wisconsin's gonna let up a whole lot of points. They're not going to score a whole lot of points either. I'm thinking over under. I think for points wise, I would say 35. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be like a 24-10, 24-14 kind of game.
Let me find that game and I'll let you know what the
unless Alabama really struggles against a Big Ten defense. We saw them really, really struggle against an ACC defense.
So over-under is 46.5. And it's 21-point spread, Alabama favored. That seems like a lot also. I don't know anything about Wisconsin this year, but they are known to make some noise every now and then when they're not that good.
Yeah. This is still a Wisconsin team that's kind of trying to figure out its identity after losing its bowl game streak and losing its preseason ranked streak. This is a Wisconsin team who's going to come in here with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder against an Alabama team that's still struggling with confidence despite a significant win against ULM. And
Wisconsin pounds the rock too. Like if you're gonna go into the SEC and have success, if you can run the ball, that's a good start.
Well, how did Florida State beat Alabama? Wasn't in the air, it was on the ground.
Yeah.
We look at that, we look at how Wisconsin runs the ball. I think that's why I favor Wisconsin to at the very least cover the spread, especially when the spread is that big between two Power 4 conference opponents. Utah is at Wyoming. They are at the University of Wyoming.
Oh, shit.
And we're going to send those Mormons home. No Utes will be winning on Saturday. I think this is a team that Wyoming has a very good chance to upset, and also a team that Wyoming has a very good chance to get absolutely shellacked by. This is kind of one of those, and I know I use this a lot, but this is a team that this is a prove it game for Utah. Are they legit? Can they go into a crowd, a hostile crowd that's going to be packed in Wyoming at altitude, and can they win? We've seen teams struggle with that. We beat Texas Tech here, and Texas Tech was ranked at the time, right? We've had recent success against ranked teams. Mm-hmm. Especially ranked Big 12 teams. I would not be surprised if Wyoming, at the very least, knocks Utah out of the rankings because they only beat them by a score or by a couple points. This is a Wyoming team that looks solid defensively. And offensively, they've been able to put up some points. They only were able to put up 10 against Akron. I think in terms of Wyoming and Mountain West.
The Zips? You almost got zipped by the Zips?
We zipped the Zips, okay?
Oh,
almost
man.
got zipped would imply that we didn't.
A lot of zipping going around here.
A lot of zipping going on. But this is a defense that is stout. And I really think that this is, again, it's a prove it game for Wyoming in Mountain West competition. Hey, how well can we stand with the big dogs? I don't even know if this is going to be listed as like a game that you can bet on or anything.
Oh, yeah. 23-point favorite for Utah.
Yeah. So right now, ESPN's matchup predictor says Utah is 92.8% favored. Wyoming's at home. We've got them here.
I'll
Don't
throw
count
a
us
little bit of
out.
money. I'll
Josh
throw a
Allen
little
is
money on the spread. I'm not picking them. I
no.
mean,
Utah's not going to be able to run the ball. They're going to have to air it out, and I do not know how well they are when it comes to airing it out. Their quarterback, Dampier, he has thrown for just under 400 yards in 2 games, so that's not terrible, but that's not over 200 yards a game.
for college, that's not it's not
their
eye-popping.
rushing leaders are their quarterback and also their running back with 112 in 2 games. So they are a run-heavy team, and Wyoming is built to stop the run.
All right.
I like this. I like this Wyoming defense to stop the run and force Utah into passing situations that they're not ready for. Wyoming also, and I know I'm homering a little bit, but we've got Krister Jr. is this tiny little wide receiver who is lightning fast, and
nice.
I think he accounted for like 198 yards against Akron. Even more last week.
He was zipping around the zips.
Yeah, he was zipping all over those zips. And so in terms of defense, I think Wyoming is going to stop the run, force Utah in the air. And I don't know how strong Utah is against the air attack when you also have guys like Sam Scott for the University of Wyoming who can run the ball and pound the rocks. Sam Scott is like if like Cam Scattaboo released like a Walmart line of action figures, and then there was like a knockoff one at the Dollar Tree. That's nice. Sam Scott, but it's still pretty solid. All right. He is nice. I mean, Caden Anderson can throw the ball. Sam Scott can run, and Krister is like, I mean, in terms of options, we also have we swapped our quarterback last year. We put him at tight end. He's so far decent in blocking. We have we've got a good tight end. We've got multiple options in the wide receiver room with Krister being number 1, but they have to be faster than him in order to stop him. He is lightning fast. He runs really well through the middle of the field. So he's not just a deep threat. I genuinely believe this is a game that Utah either game planned really well for and is ready for, or is going to get like surprised by a Wyoming team who, you know, within the past 3 years was skirting 25, like top 25, and has had some really solid teams. Oof.
I feel like the Mormons are gonna burn down Fort Bridger again. So, that's my thoughts. But you know,
think Utah's gonna smack us around? I wouldn't be surprised. I just
think they're gonna burn Fort Bridger to the ground and then go soak at least 2 of their future wives.
That's valid.
At least 2. What about that? Speaking of which, how about that fella from BYU that got kicked out? Like,
Jake Retzlaff?
Yeah, he was the Jewish guy, right?
Yeah.
How did a Jew end up at BYU in the first place?
He's not the first, but I'm not quite sure how.
I know the Mormons view, and so this is completely a non-sports topic, but the Mormons do view themselves as like the 13th tribe of Israel or 12th tribe of Israel or something, like, so they kind of view themselves as Jews, but also they're pretty strict on that no fucking policy unless you're married, and that the Jewish fella found out. And where'd he go to?
Tulane.
Oh, yeah. So Tulane's probably going to be pretty good this year. Yeah. All right. So Texas Tech, what's their story?
All right. They've played 2-0 games. They've put up 60 points in each, and they're playing a shitty team in Oregon State where they're going to put up another 40 points and look really good and jump up in the rankings until they play someone real and get their ass handed to them.
Oregon State is guaranteed to finish at least runner-up in the Pac-2.
That's very true. At least runner-up.
At least runner-up.
Next week, Texas Tech has Utah. So depending on how Utah does this week and how Texas Tech does next week or this week, it'll be ranked on rank matchup next week. And they have a pretty cupcake schedule for the rest of the season. They've got Kansas, Arizona State, who's no longer ranked, Oklahoma State.
How is Kansas this year?
They're 2-1. They've got a loss.
So they played week 0, huh?
They've got a loss to Missouri, a ranked Missouri or an unranked Missouri team.
Oh, they already had the border war there?
Yeah. And it was 31-42 to Missouri.
Real border war. Like CSU, Wyoming, there was no actual battle that ever took place for the border. But Kansas, Missouri, yeah, that was an actual battle over that border. And they hate each other. They nobody else in the country cares, but they hate each other.
No, at the halftime show, Missouri offered like this kick a kid like a $50,000 if he kicked a field goal, and he kicked the ball straight at the Kansas sideline and flipped him off. So
nice. I like that.
Oh yeah. So this is a Texas team that's got a pretty tough schedule. I mean, they could run the Big 12, but K-State might run the table and finish 10-2 after having some really shitty losses or a shitty loss. Or, you might have a Kansas team with Jalen Daniels, who is fucking lights out. He's almost got 700 yards through 3 games and 9 touchdowns with 1 or 2 interceptions. Solid quarterback play from Kansas. So I'm not high on Texas Tech or Utah. Again, those are Big 12 teams. I'm never high on the Big 12.
Yeah.
Indiana, cupcake game. Easy win this week. Next week, whenever they have Illinois, is when shit's going to be interesting. This Michigan, I don't really trust them. They've got Central Michigan, so they're going to bump up in the rankings.
They'll roll. Probably. Yeah.
But this is a team that lost to a ranked team and dropped 8 points. And if that doesn't tell you the disrespect they've got on Oklahoma, I don't know what will. Auburn is ranked. They I think they've got South Alabama, so another cupcake game. I don't know who they've played. They've played Baylor and
I hear Baylor's okay though.
Baylor is okay, which is why they're ranked.
Yeah.
I am curious to see when Auburn actually starts to play real teams. They've got Oklahoma next week, and then Texas A&M. Auburn is another team with a solid gauntlet, not like the Oklahoma gauntlet, but a pretty solid one. They've got Oklahoma.
On that note, though, it's been a hot minute since Auburn's been good, and now with Alabama looking like maybe they're kind of on the downswing, could be a year for Auburn to make a little run. You never know.
Very much could be. They've got Oklahoma next week, followed by A&M, then Georgia, Missouri, and then they've got off with Arkansas, Kentucky, and Vanderbilt. Then they finish off the season hosting Alabama. So this is a team that if they can play well, if they are legit, they will do well against their current schedule. They've got a cupcake this week. Mizzou, they've got Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns. That's not even a game.
No, not really.
They soundly beat they beat Kansas 42-31 last week. This is
a rivalry game. And first game of the year, right?
Yeah.
So week 1, you kind of it's whatever.
Or so week 1 they played Central Arkansas. This is a Missouri team that I think we will see how good they are. Now they got a sophomore transfer, a senior transfer from Penn State in Bo Pribula, and he looks good.
Missouri's feisty too. Like they're not a blue blood, but they're like a step below that.
Yeah.
And when they moved to the big or to the SEC, I was like, oh, that is a terrible decision, but they've been pretty good in the SEC. They haven't won it, I don't think. Or maybe they won it once.
They might have won it once. I know they won the Big 12 before they left.
Right. But they have been in the SEC championship.
Yes, they have. So like this Bo Pribula, he's already got 600 yards with a 79% completion rate and 5 tutties to no interceptions through 2 games. One of them being a rivalry game, pretty impressive. I think this is a Missouri team that we will see how good they are without Luther Burden III and the rest of that supporting cast that was really solid last year that left. They have another gauntlet of a season after this week. They've got South Carolina, and then a week after they have a UMass game, and then Alabama, Auburn, Vanderbilt, which we will see how good they end up being, A&M, Mississippi State, who people are pretty high on for some fucking reason, and then Oklahoma and Arkansas to finish it out. So again, I mean, it's an SEC schedule, and this is a good SEC. So don't count this. This is a Missouri team not to count out, but also they're playing Louisiana this week, so not much of a game to watch because Cajuns are going to get their asses fucking kicked.
Yeah, and it's also week 2 of football. Regardless of whether it's NCAA or NFL, it's kind of everybody's still kind of getting their shit together, and you can't really tell much. You can tell the teams that are going to be good, like Ohio State, obviously going to be good. Texas, probably going to be good, but a little overhyped to start with. Teams like Missouri and Auburn could be good. Could be something. Who knows? It could be all smoke. Indiana, are they riding high off of last year? Possibly.
Is it how good is the coaching and how good is the talent? How well is that going to show up on the field?
Florida State, are they back for real? Because if they're back for real, they're a problem. Especially being in a weaker conference like the ACC. But the ACC is not as weak as it has been in the last several years. So, I don't know. I'm intrigued by college football. NFL,
let's hit that next week when shit actually starts to count.
Yeah,
Kansas City lost. Fuck the Chiefs.
Yep.
Caught in the bottom of the AFC West for the rest of the season.
That spread was a 1.5, and I took the Chargers to cover. I almost picked them to win outright. I should have. I would have paid more money.
Always bet against the Chiefs.
My fantasy football team looks excessively mediocre this year. But also so did all of the teams I thought that were going to be really good this year, aside from the Ravens and the Bills. That was the one like really good game of the, but also it didn't say much for their defense because it was what they call a scoregami. It was the first time ever in the NFL a game ended 40-41. And so yeah, it didn't say much for the defensive side of things, but it was a great game all the way around. The rest of the NFL week was just kind of meh. It might as well be a preseason game because they're still figuring shit out. So yeah, by the time baseball's over, football is going to be getting really good, or NFL is going to be getting good. College football is next week could be good. Like there's a game or two every week throughout the entire season that makes it interesting, and then it gets more so towards the later you get. But as of right now, yeah, NFL's just kind of whatever. We'll see. Bo Nix, he was slow, but it also felt like they were just trying some shit out. They knew they were going to win that one. Titans don't look good at all.
I think we're going to see Cam Ward really struggle this year with the Titans, and it's not Cam Ward's fault.
No, it's the Titans
and the president and the entire front office of the Titans who said, "Hey, Mike Vrabel, you've gotten some serious success here with, some lackluster talent. Let's sell your talent and tell you to fuck right off." Oh, why are we losing?
Yeah.
That was their biggest mistake. Tennessee was going to be a playoff contender. I genuinely believe Will Levis, with the right coaching in Tennessee, could have been a serious threat in the AFC South. And that's not saying a lot because it's the AFC South. But
it's like the NFC South, like it's a very winnable division. Like, yeah, you put in a little bit of effort, you could probably win that thing.
Yeah. So I like my picks for college football. I like CSU to lose this week. I like them to lose by 1 million.
Who do they
I like them to actually fold the entire school and actually apologize for the performance that they are about to put on against nobody because they have the week off.
Oh, perfect.
Now, they will lose to UTSA soundly because what's going to happen is that the universe is going to realize that the CSU Rams bought and paid for their win against the University of Northern Colorado by getting a perfectly good.
Let me find this.
Pull this shit up. Pull this bullshit up. Pull this CSU ass bullshit up.
Set the scene for me while I pull it up.
See this because this pisses me off so bad.
Set the scene so I can pull it up.
Okay. All right. Final seconds. 2 seconds left on the clock. UNC is down. They heave it to the end zone. They are down. Let's see, because they are down right now as they're throwing this up 17-21. Touchdown, Hail Mary, it hits. Into double coverage, guy comes down with it. No possible way this is not a catch. There is no clear evidence the ball ever left his hands. There's no clear evidence of a bobble. Boom. Touchdown. Game over. 24-17 or 24-21. Colorado State loses to the University of Northern Colorado. But no, upon further review, this is called back and said it is not a touchdown. This was the biggest ref ball moment of the week. I don't know. I feel like there was more clips. Matt, I think there's an arrow you can hit. There's another side. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. So look at here.
23-21 lead as you look at the replay again. Cheeks going up to get it. A kid that played at Mesa Ridge High School in Colorado Springs. Thought about entering the transfer portal. And, wait, they look and see if that ball hit the turf there? And was he bobbling that? Did that hit the turf? They are now taking a look at this. This is being looked at.
It was still in his hands. They are looking at it, but it looked like it was still in his hands as he's rolling over.
Now we'll go see. One of those angles, it looked like the ball might have hit the ground and then it jarred loose.
But even if the ball hits the ground, that was not clearly jarred loose at any point.
So that's the thing is, if they would have called it incomplete on the field, I would have agreed with this call because there's not conclusive evidence either way because you can't really see. But they called it a catch.
They called it a touchdown. They overturned it on no evidence. And that's the issue. I can see them saying, oh, that was an incomplete and being like, oh, that's bullshit. But no, they called it a touchdown and then called it back. And that, my friends, is the university and the football program that my dear friend Matt supports. He is about orange corruption. They're not even an orange team. They're a green team. They're wearing these stupid little sheep helmet. Oh, they're the Aggies. We're going to change all our names to the Aggies. Y'all aren't an ag school. Not anymore. The ag school for Colorado is the University of Wyoming. Everybody knows that. This is blatant corruption at the hands of Colorado State, and I will not stand for it.
As a Colorado State fan, I say trust the science. The science proved us correct, and I believe in my country. God bless America, and I'll take it. I'll take it.
Oh, that was the most Texan politician shit I've ever heard.
No, that was obviously bullshit. But as a Ram fan and an alumni, I'll take it. I'll take it. Hey, I didn't make that call. I wouldn't have made that call, but I have no way to overturn it, so I'm going to accept it. And on that note, move your ass. We're burning